found the easiest and fastest way to remove bottom paint. Laminated glass. Boat yoga! Fixing up the mask here before I go Breaking Bad on this boat. These aren't even that old, but like they've lost almost all their stretch, so it's not holding it tight against my face anymore. So we're just replacing it with some other elastics. And I'm also gonna swap out these filthy little filters for some fresh ones so I can breathe a little better. So sorry about any background noise. We are in the yard, so there's gonna be lots of grinders going and stuff. I think I found the best solution for removing bottom paint, and that's with this little flap disc here. You have to be really careful. This is 40 grit. If you push too hard, you're gonna end up making a big divot in your gel coat. But if you just gently touch it until you get down to your barrier coat, it really removes material very, very quickly. And I think it's gonna be the most efficient way to remove material. Just look at this section. You know, we have multiple coats of bottom paint here. So we have black bottom coat, 2 coats, and then a couple coats of older bottom coat of blue underneath. And you can just watch how fast it goes away.
How's the mission going?
Okay. There's our pinstripe. We moved the water line a little higher and just like ignored the pinstripe, but it always chips around that because it's plastic, so we're sanding that away. But what's weird to me is that underneath that is still blue bottom paint. It's like somebody painted bottom paint underneath before they put the stripe on, which really makes no sense to me. But I don't understand why it would be blue here otherwise. So I think the light blue that we're seeing underneath the layers of Interprotect that we had put, I'm pretty sure that's the last layer. I don't know if it's a primer for the Interprotect or if it's Interprotect tinted blue. I didn't think they had that, but anyway, basically underneath that final light blue layer is bare glass. There's not even gel coat. So I don't know, maybe it's blue gel coat that they put on the bottom. It doesn't really make sense to me. Wherever we see blue spots like this, we're going to make sure to slap a couple extra layers of Interprotect and then go over the whole thing again with Interprotect. And then of course our bottom paint of our choosing after it. But it's going pretty good with that grinder. I'm pretty happy with it. It's hard on the arms because you gotta keep moving. Like if you leave it in one spot and you move slowly like you would with a sander, you're gonna end up burning through way too many layers. So I'm constantly doing this and moving, so my arms are gonna get tired fast. But I mean, I've been working on this for maybe an hour and I've done, you know, a fairly large section, so I don't see this. I think this is definitely the fastest way to do it. So we got a small section of delamination. It might go roughly all the way to here, but you can see if you look closely, there's a little bit of water in here, and I mean it's been seeping out, but we're gonna give it a little bit of an easier time seeping out and drill a couple holes. See how this dries out, and then if there we go, and if it doesn't dry out completely, I might just grind out all of the delaminated stuff and put a patch. If I can get it to dry out completely, then we might just fill the gaps with some epoxy and work from there. I'm not 100% sure where the water came from. There might have been some water that penetrated in here somewhere, but I have a feeling that it might have came from the top.
While Cory is down there just sanding away at the hull, I am inside the boat. And it's way colder inside than outside. And I'm doing a bunch of cleaning, like really deep spring cleaning, because the boat hasn't had that good of a clean since we pretty much bought it like 2.5 years ago. And this is when we found out I was pregnant. I didn't really want to talk about it too much because I guess I was just too scared of losing another baby, because I had 2 miscarriages last year while we were sailing, and it was just so hard to get over it, and I still struggle with it every once in a while. But we still took our precautions. So Cory did pretty much everything outside. He did everything with the epoxy, the sanding, fiberglass, and all that stuff. And I stayed inside the boat doing more of the cleaning and trying to stay away from fumes and anything toxic.
What time is it?
Yeah.
You should start cleaning up.
We left some cans behind and they are crazy rusty. Ugh. So I am currently going through a bit of the things that we already had on the boat. I've put it all together. This I did leave on the boat, but it was all in like my pressure cooker or a bin. So checking what I have so that I can provision.
It's amazing the people you meet in this wonderful world of the cruising community, as well as our YouTube channel. Our community here on YouTube is just wonderful. We just met somebody who's following us. His name's Lee, and he's just a super friendly guy. He has a hunter just like ours, so we're swapping different like rebuild ideas and stuff. And he also lent us this sucker, which is removing the bottom paint way faster than even the grinder and the flap disc, which was already quite a bit faster than the orbital sander. But this is just gonna save me so much time and jello arms, and oh man, it's gonna be awesome. And the other thing, he's replacing his prop with a larger one, well basically same size but more blade, more propulsion out of it. So he gave us this prop. Thank you so much, Lee. You're awesome, man. Really appreciate it. We owe you a few beers. The reason why this is so important to us is because our prop is actually composite, or like a plastic. So, you know, so I mean, it's probably, you know, at one point it's gonna break. It's not a solid thing comparing to this bronze. So we're super stoked. This is gonna, for sure it's gonna fit because it's from the same boat, same year, everything. So yeah, thanks again, man. You're a lifesaver.
While doing all of the sanding, we were staying at my sister's house about 40 minutes away. So we would usually pack a lunch and enjoy it by the St. John's River. A well-deserved rest for Cory's arms.
Sure.
This has been my little hole this morning, trying to take apart the steering assembly so that the rudder shaft can slide down, and then Cory's gonna be able to sand around the rudder way better. But it's so awkward getting in here. A tiny hole, and there's that ledge that digs in your body. Okay, let's try to get this thing in.
So I think I found the easiest and fastest way to remove bottom paint. At first I was using, the very first time we removed bottom paint, we used the orbital sander, which is very slow even with like a 40 grit sandpaper. So then I switched to a flap sander on a grinder, and that works pretty good too. But sometimes if you're not careful, you make little divots that you have to kind of sand out. But what I found that works the best is the belt sander with a 32 grit or a 40 grit. You use it very carefully because it makes deep gouges if you're not careful. And you just go over and you try to get it something like this. You'll see I have some little scratches past the blue anti-fouling, but I'm scratching the inner protect a little bit. So what I'll do after is I'll switch to an 80 grit and kind of smooth out some of those scratches, and then I'll use the orbital one last time with like a 40 grit, since the orbital doesn't take off nearly as much material, to kind of smooth everything over nicely. And it's amazing how much faster it is. Like, just removing the other side took me forever, which I think I'm going to get done. Basically, instead of like a week, I think I could get it done in a couple days with this.
What you finding there?
It looks like our water tank has shifted a little bit or something. We have to check it out to figure out exactly what happened. But it seems like the water tank is pushing against the sides of the hull a little bit, and it's actually cracked a little bit right here at our water line. There's a little bit of gel coat cracking above it, but this crack actually went all, this is like just the end of it, so it's quite deep. It's I don't know, almost a 1/4 inch deep, at least 1/8 of an inch deep. And it's on both sides. This side is the worst side. But you can see another one here. So we're gonna grind it away. We're not gonna grind above the gel coat here because it's just on the gel coat surface. But I'm gonna repair it the best I can here. There's a very slight hump there. And also we're gonna take a look inside and see if we can adjust it so it's not pushing against the hull so much. So yeah, as you can see, you got to be careful or you'll end up scratching the inner protect a little bit too much and maybe removing more than what you want. But for us, it's okay since we're putting more on. It's okay if I lose a little bit of the inner protect, and it's just making my life so much faster. It's incredible. So I think this is the quickest way to remove it. I've just been sanding down the bottom paint here, prepping it for inner protect and then more bottom paint. And I noticed this little section down here that was kind of looking rusty on the outside. So I started grinding in it. It looks like definitely some water somehow penetrated in there because a lot of the glass is dark. So what I'm going to do is just grind away any of the bad looking glass, and then we'll put a new patch, a couple new layers of glass on there and smooth it all over. I'm not sure how the water got in, if it was at the top here, but it's likely it just kind of penetrated through the layers of glass. Maybe we had air bubbles or something and the water was able to get in. I'm not 100%, but we're gonna fix it.
In the work zone at Green Cove Springs Marina, you can do all of the work yourself, which is why we chose this place. You are even allowed to stay on board your sailboat. In 2021, it cost us 50 cents per foot per day. And this also gives you access to power.
Woo! Finally finished. Well done. Well, there's still some touch-ups to do, and of course we got to do underneath all the stands. But I'm done the majority. Oh, I'm so happy. It took almost a week, but anyway, it's alright. It's finished now. I'm pretty sure the water's just gotten in around the shaft, because it seems like where the water's coming out, it's coming from the metal on the inside through the foam and then into the other layers of glass. That's my assumption. It might have been a bad spot that was glass, but it seems like we're down to foam here. There's not much moisture, but there was a little bit coming out, so I'm gonna let it dry out for a while. Got rid of all the delaminated glass, There was another little spot here. I got a little more to remove here. It's still kind of delaminating. And then on this side, so there's actually quite a bit of moisture right here. It seems like, so my guess is the water made it down inside and made its way along the metal. I mean, the best we can do really is find the spots that are delaminating or have moisture and repair them. There might still be a bit of moisture inside the rudder, but I mean, it's not really causing too much harm in general. So that's all we can do for now.
So I kind of got tired of constantly seeing water dripping from this, and this is fiberglass here. This is high density foam, but you can tell it's still quite solid. But right in the middle here there was a soft spot, so I kind of went in and got rid of all of the stuff that came out with the drill that wasn't hard. Just to get rid of any waterlogged or punky foam, and hopefully the water that is in here will be able to dry up a little bit better. So it's not a huge section, but I mean it does go in there pretty far. You can see just at the top here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that's where one of the metal struts is. And it looks like, I think maybe part of our problem, I don't know if this just dried out because it was left exposed, but it looks like maybe we didn't get our resin fully saturated enough because the fiberglass is a little white. So right here, same sort of thing. It seems like there's a lot of water kind of passing along this strut here. You can see some water coming out. So what I'll do is drill underneath it so all the water kind of flows underneath. So that's the way the foam should look. So that's good foam. There's nothing wrong with that. So actually the foam's pretty good there. I might not bother with that. I might just grind a little bit more away here, and then we can fill all these holes with epoxy afterwards.
It's normal that we get a slight leak around the stuffing box, like through, you know, where the shaft comes up through the stuffing box. But around the stuffing box there's a slight crack, so I want to grind away some of the existing fiberglass and re-fiberglass it a little bit more solid. Well, hello. I don't know if you can see me at all. It's really dark back here, but I just wanted to show you what I was doing in this tight area. We have our stuffing box, and underneath the stuffing box, just over here, we have where the water is coming in between the glass here and the stuffing box. So what I'm doing is I'm just grinding away all of the area here, cleaning it up a little bit so that I can use some thickened epoxy and kind of level it out a little bit so that when I put glass, there won't be any air bubbles or anything. So I'm just using a little Dremel here and grinding away. Slow process with this little Dremel, but it's doing the trick. I got it grinded away a little bit, and then I started using a screwdriver to chip away at the broken glass where the crack was. So it wasn't a very good seal against the side of the stuffing box. So it's good to chip it away, so I'll have a better bond once I clean up the side of the stuffing box, scratch it up a little bit with some sandpaper, and then I should be able to re-glass it. It doesn't even look like there was any glass there. It looks like somebody just painted or thickened gel coat or something like that, because it's just white. There's no glass there at all, so it just looks like it's thickened gel coat there. So once I glass that around, after I remove the rest of this stuff, it should be a lot better. And man, this is not a fun place to work. I can't get two arms in there. It's so hard to get my hands in because I don't know if you could tell, but holy jeez, I barely fit in here. This is my least favorite area out of the whole boat. Boat yoga! This is why it's my least favorite spot. First off, you got this thick fiberglass reinforced area here, kind of like a mini bulkhead, digging into your side, so you need a pillow. Secondly, my shoulders are too wide to turn around in here, and it's more comfortable to lie on your back, but your arms don't bend the right way, so you gotta lie on your side / on your belly. And man, it is just not a fun spot to be in at all.
Well, I think that's enough for today. My arms are like jello. And time to go get some food and chill out for the rest of the evening. Maybe do some more video editing.
I've got lots of dishes to do actually.